Look at that Selloff white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God. It even has a watermark.
Something wrong, Patrick? You're sweating.
What the administration is doing, only 33% said because they like what the administration is doing. So if we want to just keep
question, who's more popular right now, Donald Trump or congressional Democrats?
It doesn't matter. Donald Trump happens
This will be something we could never have imagined. If the deep state is destroying our nation, but the tables must turn and we will quickly destroy the deep state. We know where the bodies are buried. There are a lot of people out there that have done some very, very evil things, very bad things, I would say treasonous things against our country. People that have done such harm to our country. I've been looking at them for a long time. He could order the investigation and prosecution of individuals who he sees as enemies. Put them all in jail where they belong. You gotta get tough and smart, and you have to fight fire with fire. You can't allow this to go on. And I will be the one to clean it up. I am your retribution.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Today is 4/30/2025. Today's Thursday, 4/30/2025. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. If you're catching this on the live, come on in. Come on in. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. And as always, for the replay folks, for the folks that be catching this on the replay, I'm going to go ahead and place the timestamps of the stories and topics in the description down below so you can jump forward to back, back and forward, back, forward, forward to back, however you want on the stories. Again, that'll be in the description down below. Also, if you're not part of the Discord group, tap into the Discord group. That'll also be in the description down below. Shout out to everybody catching this on the live. I want to give a huge shout out before we jump on in and say anything else. We got to give a huge shout out to the moderators. We got to say what's up to the moderators.
Perfect.
They do a fantastic job in moderating the chat. So shout out to the moderators in the chat. And then also shout out to everybody catching this on the live. Come on in. Come on in. We're going to do a quick roll call. See who's up in the chat. How is everybody doing today? What's going on, my mind? What is up, my mind? Threads O'Hara, what is going on? What's going on? John, what's going on? Rob, Catherine, what is going on? Terry in the house. What is up? What is up? My mind, you ready for WrestleMania, man? Coming up, WrestleMania is in Las Vegas. It's going to be a blast. What's going on, Catherine? Innocent man, what's going on? What's going on? Hope everybody had a solid day today. 2 weeks, Terry says, 2 weeks of WrestleMania. What you gonna do, brother? Hulk Hogan's not going to be there, but I hope not. Anyways, he'll get booed out of the stadium. Anyways, let's jump into the opening. Let's jump in and let's see what we're talking about today, because we got some stuff lined up today. All right, first up, we got Mayor Eric Adams just had his red pill moment after being abandoned by his own party. He pulled the political equivalent of texting your ex and saying, you know what? Trump was right. Trump had a point. That's right. Adams now says the party left me and even quoted Donald Trump for defending him. We're living in an era where the New York mayor is now quoting Kash Patel and name dropping government gangsters on a podcast. Is this real life or a Babylon Bee headline? Meanwhile, AOC still refuses to take any responsibility for Tesla vandalisms and that epidemic with the Teslas. Because apparently suggesting Elon Musk is a literal antichrist on live TV has absolute zero connection to people setting his cars on fire. Right. Just like OJ was returning the knife. Then there's Dana Bash, CNN's hall monitor in heels, who tried to smear Laura Loomer for her NSC staffers firing. Spoiler alert, Loomer responded by dragging her conflict of interest in the sunlight like a vampire at noon. And Trump said, she makes recommendations. Sometimes I listen, sometimes I don't. Translation, she hits harder than your favorite leftist lunatic journalist. In Chicago, the left's favorite experiment, squatter socialism. It's officially gone off the rails. A family and their dog broke into somebody's home, faked mortgage paperwork, and now they're living like it's a timeshare. The city, absolutely useless. The law, confused. Homeowners, homeless. On the economy front, Trump's tariffs dropped a bomb on Wall Street today. Stocks dipped, elites panicked, and Ford said screw it and gave everybody employee pricing on vehicles. Forget the stock market. Main Street just got a raise. And don't worry, Karoline Leavitt said there's no pain coming unless you work in media, global finance, or live in San Francisco. San Francisco, where there's 70% off clearance sales, and the only thing keeping malls from becoming indoor tent cities. And in Maryland, they're now debating retributions. Get this. Because when you've mismanaged everything in the government, your next move is free money from the guilt bank account. It's amazing. I've never owned a slave. I'm not sure if my ancestors ever owned land, but sure, let's cut checks for sins I didn't commit in a state that I don't even live in. That will fix everything. And in sports, I say that kind of lightly, a female fencer withdrew from her match rather than fighting a biological male. She said she felt at a loss. Yeah, we all do, especially when women are being erased in real time and the left claps at it like seals at SeaWorld. And just when you thought it couldn't get any more surreal, Naked Gun is coming back. Because what we really need right now is a parody of a world that's already a giant parody of itself. So grab your drink, grab your common sense, maybe a squatter-proof lock, because today's show will be pretty packed. The system's cracking, the narrative is collapsing, and we got front row seats. Let's jump in. Catherine says today has been hilarious. It absolutely has been. As soon as I checked on a project, I came home, I checked everything. I checked all my accounts and all my emails and all this other stuff. And I was like, wow, today has absolutely been hilarious. Trump is on Air Force One showing off the gold card. He's like, you see this? You see this gold card? The #1 gold card. What is up, Mona? What is up? Risking my biscuit. AOC is trash. Yes, she is. She is. This is what I think every time I see AOC.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Let's jump into the first topic of tonight's show. We got Eric Adams. He's been in the news a lot lately. He was recently on Andrew Schultz's podcast. I got some clips about that. Mayor Eric Adams said that the party left him. Here's an older clip of this when he said it.
That's what Mayor Adams said about the Democratic Party in a wide-ranging 50-minute-long interview with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson. Here's part of that conversation.
So people often say, well, you don't sound like a Democrat, and, you seem to have left the party. No, the party left me, and it left working class people. And our conversations that we should be talking about are not the issues that everyday people that are in power are talking about. People are concerned about the future of their families, and that should be our focus, and that's the focus of this administration.
Adams says that he was targeted by federal prosecutors because of his criticism of former President Biden's handling of the migrant crisis. The mayor says that he was told to, quote, be a good Democrat. Adams has been more really leaning on Republican lawmakers, including a trip to D.C. for the inauguration and having those conversations with Republicans.
Can you imagine that Democrat Party going up to Mayor Eric Adams and going, be a good Democrat? What's he supposed to say? Yes, sir. I'm gonna be a good Democrat. I'm gonna be a good Democrat for you. Yes, sir. I'm gonna obey all the rules. Donald Trump during the Catholic dinner, he gave a shout out to Mayor Eric Adams. But let's jump into this. Here is Mayor Eric Adams' big announcement for the day.
Pro-quality of life are still there, standing strong, even if many who share them have left the party. Those are my values, New York's values, and I will always fight for them. I had hope to fight for them again in the Democratic primary for mayor. And more than 25,000 New Yorkers signed my Democratic primary petition. But the dismissal of the bogus case against me dragged on too long, making it impossible to mount a primary campaign while these false accusations were held over me. But I'm not a quitter. I'm a New Yorker. And that is why today, although I am still a Democrat, I am announcing that I will forego the Democratic primary for mayor and appeal directly to all New Yorkers as an independent candidate in the general election.
What? Yeah, no more messing, no more. What? Thanks, Patrick Kennedy. I appreciate you for that. Adams, I'm all for it. Remember the day he went to see Biden and the FBI showed up? Yeah. He left the Democrat plantation. You ain't gonna be my messer no more.
A judge dismissed the corruption charges against Adams with prejudice on Wednesday. In other words, President Trump's DOJ will not revive the charges. Adams had been indicted on 5 charges last September. Those included bribery and fraud, where he was accused of receiving more than $100,000 in travel perks and illegal campaign contributions.
After meeting with border...
I'm going to jump into this clip with Andrew Schultz and him. Mayor Eric Adams calls out his critics with Trump derangement syndrome. He was on the Andrew Schultz podcast. Here we go.
People saying that Trump played a role in the DOJ dropping the case. Because it's like, it kind of looked like you went
the timing
to
does seem,
and then all of a sudden
he had your back at that Catholic dinner.
Yeah.
He was like,
And I'm glad you said that.
what they did, and I thought that was like a really interesting thing to even say. He said it kind of flippantly, which I thought was more effective because he could have went and made a big deal of it. He was like, "Yeah, it's wrong what they're doing," And I've always wondered if he felt, and people are going to say we're apologizing for Trump or whatever, but I've always wondered if he felt like, oh, they're doing the same thing to him.
Come on, brother.
You tell me.
Come on. Listen, people say think this is what what those who have Trump derangement syndrome are saying. Because there's some folks. I'm not the type of cat that I respect the office. The presidency is in office, is representative of our country. Presidents come and go, like mayors come and go. I'm a big believer. I'm a patriot. I believe in the American flag. My uncle died at 19 defending this country. You know, I wore a bulletproof vest for the city. My brother did as well. So I believe in the symbol of office. So I don't have to like who's in office. I respected Biden to the fullest extent. I respect the office. And so when President Trump was on the campaign trail, before he was elected, he was saying, look what they're doing to this man in New York. He said, this is wrong what they're doing to this man in New York. He never asked me for anything. I believe he personally saw what they did to it's one thing to do something to the individual, but when you start doing something to your family members, and I think there was something he saw, because out of everything he had on his campaign trail, he didn't have to come out on his campaign trail and say, this is wrong what they're doing to Eric. He did it at rallies. He did it the day before the election, when he's at Madison Square Garden, a few days before the election, on that Sunday. He said, look what they're doing to this man in New York. So there was never, they say, well, there was a quid pro quo. You are now trying to be hard on immigration. I said, show me what I said
that refutes
after he was elected that I wasn't saying before he was elected.
You guys trust him? What do you guys think? You think he's just tired of the Democrat Party? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Chat, let me know what's up. Also, drop it down in the comment section if you're catching this on the replay. Eric Adams tells comedian Andrew Schultz to read FBI Director Kash Patel's Government Gangsters. Great breakdown of the deep state. We're living in a crazy simulation when Mayor Eric Adams is saying, hey, you got to read Kash Patel's Government Gangsters. I haven't read it yet, personally. I know some people in the chat that are catching this on the live have read it. What's going on, Cindy? What's going on, Fetus? My mind says, I still don't trust him. I still don't trust him. It'll take time. Yep.
But it is a shot at your political career.
Oh,
and is it frustrating to not, or do you know who you think it came from? Like, is Biden aware of this, or is it the people that are underneath Biden? Is it completely separate?
That's a great question. That's a great question. You know, there are a lot of people, and I don't want to sound conspiracy theory, but there's a permanent government. There are people that see presidents and mayors come and go. Their attitudes will wait you out. You know what book is a great book, man? Everybody should read the book, Kash Patel's Government Gangsters.
Okay.
You should him on the pod.
Yeah, you should read that book, man.
Okay.
Kash breaks this down.
What is he? And is this what
he's now the FBI director?
Of course, we love Kash.
Yeah.
But is this what people refer to? And I think this word has been used too much, but the deep state or whatever it is.
It's not used too much. It's real, brother.
Oh, really?
Brother, think about it.
Who's part of it? What are there current senators and that kind of stuff, or is it people that we don't even know but they're always existing?
I have never seen anyone do such a good job of defining that deep state. You should have him on.
I would. Tell him to come on.
You should have him on.
We would love it.
The way
he's probably listening right now, right?
The way, because he was in. It's like me talking about what happens in NYPD after 22 years.
Yeah.
Kash was in the DOD. He was in the FBI. He prosecuted terrorists. So he comes with this wealth of knowledge.
Yeah.
And the way he breaks it down, it's just unbelievable what this deep state is about and why it's so important for Americans that we cannot have a weaponizing of our prosecutorial powers. Now imagine the Southern District, right? Southern District of New York. That's one of the most powerful U.S. Attorney's office.
Crooked too.
In their mind, they said we're sovereign. You know what that means?
What do you mean they said they're sovereign?
That they don't have to answer to anyone.
Oh.
They don't have to answer to the president. They don't have to answer to the U.S. attorney in Washington, the attorney general in Washington. They believe they're a sovereign entity. You're not elected. You know what I'm saying? Imagine an entity believing they don't have to answer to anyone but their entity.
That's why that took them so long to get them Epstein files over to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. They should have, Kash and Pam should have infiltrated that first before requesting the files. But what do I know? I'm just an outsider looking in. 2020. What do I know, right? Cindy says, love your show. Thank you for taking the time. God bless you and your family. Love from Cali. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you. Thank you. Terry said, I found the book on Audible. I got to pick that up. They might even make that into a film or something. I don't know. Cindy, that's how Crockett, who explained it, but historically they were the party of slavery, but all the people but all Americans are slaves of taxes and no truly owned land. They added land tax to the Constitution. That's what Catherine writes. Cash, Bongino, Bondi are making solid cases to stick. Yep. I agree with that. So those of you that are just jumping in right now, Mayor Eric Adams announces that he's leaving the Democrat Party, running as an independent. Be sure to smash the like button if you kindly would. It does help with the YouTube algorithms. Yes, Audible. I think Bongino, Pam, Patel, they're doing some good stuff. And it all takes time. All this stuff takes time. I feel like sometimes I'm beating up like a dead horse a lot because we weren't functioning correctly. We were not functioning correctly. You know, all of this takes time. The tariffs, the economy, the arrests, all of it takes time. Terry, I do audiobooks, Cindy, because I have a problem with regular books. You're welcome. Oh, you are welcome, Catherine. You are welcome. 100% all day. Yeah. Fetus, to expect everything to be done in 2 months is idiotic. Exactly. Impatient. You know, that's honestly, I think that's one of my biggest gripes of Americans. You know, we've become in totality, we have become this society that can get everything instantly. You know, Instacart, Amazon, Walmart.com. We can get diagnosed on Wikipedia, whatever. We can get all these things really, really quick. And we forgot the power of patience. I gave this analogy a while ago in regards of America thinking of it as a big ship, a big business ship. If you want to turn directions, if you were going a direction, if you're going straight, and you want to turn left or you want to turn right, you turn the wheel on the boat, it takes a little bit to turn. Those are one of the biggest things that I learned in business is the bigger that the business is, the more difficult it becomes to pivot. It becomes challenging to pivot and it takes time to pivot. And then you got to go and almost redo everything. All right, we are jumping into AOC. AOC. Oh.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
AOC was approached by somebody and asked about her rhetoric towards Elon Musk, and does it Does it contribute to the Tesla attacks? And listen to what she had to say.
Democrats were so outraged about January 6th, but then they were fine with the riots in that summer of everyone burning down buildings. Well, now they're fine with everyone protesting and then all the violence against Tesla owners and some of the dealerships. AOC was asked if she was pressed on this. Do you think that the rhetoric, the dangerous rhetoric coming out of the mouths of Democrats could contribute to what's happening for Tesla owners and dealerships? Listen to this.
Do you see a connection at all between the rhetoric we're hearing from Democrats on Musk and Tesla, connection to the violence at all, or what's happening on the streets to Tesla dealerships?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I've seen Republicans call me communist. I hate this country. I mean, it's like it's I don't.
Congresswoman, do you still have your Tesla? I was just wondering if you still have your Tesla.
For security reasons, I'm not hot.
Yeah, that's right.
AOC, excuse me, do you still have your Tesla? I do still have my Tesla. I really like my Tesla. But for security reasons, I'm not allowed to tell you anything.
Tesla? I was just wondering.
I don't.
Congresswoman, do you still have your Tesla? I was just wondering if you still have your Tesla.
For security reasons, I'm not hot.
Yeah, that's right. If someone has a Tesla, they're going to think it's AOC.
Asking Dems to take responsibility. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Do you still have your Tesla? Maybe.
So for security reasons, here's the thing. Most Democrats had Teslas, electric cars. They were leading the purchases. I'm sure if there was a box to check, you'd find that out. But this is one of the reasons, Steve, why I think that he might expedite him leaving earlier. I don't think he anticipated this. I don't think he anticipated his company's paying the price, except for maybe not having a brilliant CEO day to day. But now Tesla's global sales are off 13%. In Rome, they were attacked at a dealership yesterday. I think 44 were blown up. So they were supposed to sell.
We were talking about that yesterday. I think it was Catherine in the chat that said yesterday that in Rome, they blew up a couple Teslas.
Projected 330.
This is wild to me. This is absolutely wild to me. Imagine if a Republican went into, let's say, the Obama library and burned books. I'm sure that would get coverage.
6,000. They were supposed to deliver 396,000. They deliver 336,000. How many people just are giving up these cars because they don't like the way Elon Musk is associated with Trump?
Right. And so as you look at some of these images of the vandalism, and we saw at the very beginning some video we brought you yesterday where that guy reportedly had taped over one of the family's video cameras and then broke the Cybertruck.
Dude, this is getting out of hand. Every day, every single day, it's like a thing that pops up on the news. It is getting out of hand. Some of you guys in the chat are saying this is 100% Soros backed. And I think you might be right. Yeah, Cindy, it is worldwide. Sorry, Rome. The worst of America thought bled on you. Oh, yeah. This is getting crazy to me. People destroying personal property for vendettas and their ridiculous Trump derangement syndrome, Elon derangement syndrome. This is getting out of hand. What's going to happen soon? I saw somebody ninja kick somebody, by the way. I think it was on TikTok. He like ninja kicked him. The dude was trying to scratch his car and he like ninja kicked him into the Cybertruck. But somebody's going to get hurt. Somebody's going to get severely hurt. One of these left lunatics are going to roll up on somebody that is not going to be having it, and they're going to get him. They're going to get him. Let me jump into the comments. Democrats are total idiots and violent and racist and foolish. It is foolish. It's childish. Stacy writes, the only reason they don't like Elon, it has nothing to do with Trump, everything to do with him exposing them. And you know what? The people, it's crazy because the people should not be mad. He's exposing government waste, fraud, and abuse. And at the end of the day, he's going to put more, the intention of all this is to put more money back into our pockets. And whoever doesn't want that is a dummy, just in my personal opinion. And the other thing is you are that naive to think that there are not cameras on these Teslas. All these folks are getting exposed. AOC's IQ test came back negative.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Oh, boy. All right, we are jumping. We got Miss Bash McNasty reporting on Laura Loomer. So there was a situation that came up. Laura Loomer met with Donald Trump. She said, hey, there's some folks that slid over from the Biden administration. I think you should fire them. Donald Trump ended up firing them. Dana Bash nasty reporting on Laura Loomer and the NSC firing backfires when Loomer exposes her of glaring conflict of interest. So fake news, CNN, Dana Bash made a significant mistake smearing Laura Loomer following the news of independent journalist's role in the firing of multiple neocons, in neocon NSA staffers. This is a report by the Gateway Pundit. Listen to what Laura Loomer had to say. CNN is melting down over Laura Loomer exposing Biden holdovers. We got Caitlin. We got all of our favorites. We got Caitlin. We got Miss Bash.
Anyway, but on this, it is important to note that Laura Loomer is driving this. She is a far-right activist. She is someone who said that if Vice President Harris won the White House during the election, that it would smell like curry. Those were
I got to rewind that back.
Right activist. She is someone who said that if Vice President Harris won the White House during the election, that it would smell like curry. Those were comments that were denounced by Republican allies of the president, including Vance at the times that he disagreed with it. And so she is the one who's really driving this, and it speaks to the level of influence.
And let's talk about the impact on national security, who they are, and why this matters so much for how the national security of the United States of America is run and who's doing it.
Well, what's fascinating about this is that the three staffers that have been fired here are outside of Washington Beltway national security circles. These are pretty anonymous people. They are foreign policy minds that have serious resumes, that have worked serious jobs on Capitol Hill, in the State Department, in think tanks. You know, these are people that are well known in national security circles because they are longtime practitioners of foreign policy, experienced in making that kind of policy. These are the people that are sort of engaged in the nitty gritty of actually designing national security policy for the president. But they're not big public figures. You know, they're people like Brian Walsh, who was who ran intelligence programs for the White House, who formerly worked for Senator Marco Rubio when he was chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee. You had a senior director who worked on technology issues for the National Security Council, and you had the head of legislative affairs for the National Security Council. So again, not people that are sort of big public names that you're hearing on cable news all day long. And I think it really speaks to this kind of lesson that the president felt that he learned out of his first administration of being managed up by these faceless bureaucrats.
Thank you both for your reporting. Appreciate you being here, getting up.
They all got into office 2020. Shady. Now, check this out. So, this was posted. Oh, I'm not sharing screen. So, this was posted here. And then Laura Loomer writes, highly unethical of you to be assassinating my character as a result of my opposition research presents to the president of the United States, when Dana Bash herself has a direct conflict of interest preventing her from being honest in her reporting today. Check this out. Until 2 months ago, Ivan Canapathy was senior vice president of Beacon Global Strategies. Jeremy Bash, the ex-husband of CNN host Dana Bash, is currently managing director of Beacon Global Strategies. Canapathy and Bash worked together. Now Canapathy is a top-level position under Mike Waltz at the NSC, despite working alongside treasonous intel officers who broke their code of professional ethics by using security clearance to fabricate stories about Hunter Biden's laptop to interfere in the 2020 election. You are exactly right, Catherine. Look at this. Direct conflict of interest. Laura Loomer came in with the receipts about this. Why would Canapathy willingly work alongside the intel officers, all while everyone was aware for years that their inappropriate conduct and abuse of power? Bash was a chief of staff at the Central Intelligence Agency in 2009 to 2011. Interesting. Jeremy Bash, the ex-husband of CNN anchor Dana Bash. Come on, man. Come on, man. What's going on, LJ? What you guys think about Dana Bash and her unbiased report? It's CNN. Of course it's going to be unbiased reporting, right? We already know. Trump says, this is from Media Light. Trump says conspiracy theorist Laura Loomer makes recommendations, and sometimes I listen to them.
Hello? This is Evil Bill with Big Bank. You didn't pay your debts.
A little bit about your meeting with Laura Loomer and Mike Waltz today and how that came about.
So Laura Loomer is a very good patron. She is a very strong person. And I saw her yesterday for a little while. She makes recommendations of things and people. And sometimes I listen to those recommendations like I do with everybody. I listen to everybody and then I make a decision. But I saw her yesterday. She was at the ceremony. And she'll always have something to say, usually very constructive.
What did she recommend?
She recommended certain people for jobs.
Adding to the administration, not
adding.
Who did she not firing?
Well, she'll recommend that too. But yesterday she recommended some people for jobs.
Did she have anything to do with the NSC aides who were ousted?
No, I don't know.
Do you know how many, sir? Do you know how many from the NSC?
Not many.
Was it 5, a dozen?
I really don't know.
Who does Loomer want?
There were a couple that I know.
Who did Laura recommend hiring?
Well, I don't want to say that, but she's.
President Donald Trump told reporters on Air Force One on Thursday that he often listens to advice from far-right activists and conspiracy theorists. Again, this is from Media Light. Laura Loomer. Trump denied reports Loomer played a role in his administration decision to fire 3 National Security Council staffers after she laid out grievances against them. She came in with the receipts, though. She came in with the receipts. Got them off their holdover tenants from the Biden administration. Got to get them out of there. Let me know what you guys think about that. Drop it down in the comment section down below or drop it in the chat. Terry says he listens to all sides. LJ just got back from walking the dogs in the mountains. Beautiful day outside. Yes, it absolutely was. Trump lets them make their case, then makes a decision. Yep. Just given the facts and then make a logical decision based off the facts. Yeah. She brought evidence to support her claims, is my guess. Yeah, that's what she did. She did it on X too. And he was like, well, maybe these folks aren't the best. Be sure to smash the like button if you kindly would. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. Trump should fire all the leftovers. I think so too. We know what happened last time when the leftovers stayed in the fridge too long. They got spoiled and moldy and infiltrated the entire administration during his first term. And I think he learned his lessons. All right, we got a crazy one here. This is nuts. Oh, I guess I'm not done with it. We'll jump into that one here in a minute. The markets today are way down because of the tariffs. How is it going? This is what Peter Doocy asked Donald Trump. I'll jump into the markets really quick, and then we'll jump into that story about Chicago.
Are way down. The worst day is here because of the tariffs. So how's it going?
I think it's going very well. It was an operation, like when a patient gets operated on, and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is. We have $6 or $7 trillion coming into our country, and we've never seen anything like it. The markets are going to boom. The stock is going to boom. The country is going to boom. And the rest of the world wants to see, is there any way they can make a deal? They've taken advantage of us for many, many years. For many years, we've been at the wrong side of the ball. And I'll tell you what, I think it's going to be unbelievable. The thing that people have to talk about, we're up almost to $7 trillion of investment coming into our country. And you'll see how it's going to turn out. Our country's going to boom.
It is. It's going to dip. It did a little bit today after the stock market closed.
Right now, what is setting up to be the worst day for U.S. equity markets since at least the onset of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's pretty significant, right? We haven't seen this kind of trade. It's interesting. We were talking with our Eric Weiner, who's been following the markets here for us at Bloomberg, saying it's been orderly selling, though, and you have seen the market kind of try to rally off those lows. We are, though, hovering near our lows of the session, a tortured trade where you see just so many names and so many sectors just in the red today.
Okay, fair to say the overwhelming.
But if you're looking at this, if you're looking at the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is a long game play. At least in my personal opinion, it's not an easy in, easy out type situation. S&P 500 is a long game. Markets are going to drop. Markets are going to come back up. As long as you have that money in the S&P 500, long term, same thing with 401k. Whatever your 401k situation is and how that gets distributed, unless you plan on pulling it out tomorrow, which I'm not the financial advisor, but I definitely would not recommend it pulling out tomorrow. I would just say ride it out, because we've seen markets dip like this before. This is just the way that the market is reacting based on the tariffs. I guarantee you it is going to go back up. I guarantee you it is going to go back up.
Tone is absolutely negative, more than 400 stocks in the S&P 500 lower. That said, there are still 34 companies in the S&P 500 alone, Alex, that have hit 52-week highs today. We're talking about companies such as Kroger, Coca-Cola, Duke Energy, and more.
Well, yeah, because that's where you go for safety. They got dividends, they're consumer staples, and you got to buy toilet paper. So, I mean, you look at it that way, and
Monster Energy.
That's not
You gotta
necessarily you got to turn on your lights. But that's not necessarily a good feeling within the market when those are the stocks that are the only ones that are really pushing higher.
And we should point out, I mean, the defensive nature of what we're seeing today is alive and well. And you saw that by some of the names, of course, that Tim was pointing out. You saw it, of course, with regard to that huge drop in yields. I mean, we're talking about 16 basis points down on that 2-year yield. The flight into some other safe havens, including the yen, as well as some of those hedges.
So Donald Trump gave that perfect analogy. It's just like a surgery, right? Once you have a surgery, you got to recover a little bit. LJ reposted that. His surgery analogy is brilliant, right on. I keep telling liberals, America is under construction. Be patient and excuse our mess. 100%. This is all going to take time. We're going to come back. We're going to thrive. Again, American manufacturing coming back, all these things. This is a bounce back, and you'll see this in leftist legacy media. The fear tactics about the tariffs. They're going to push. I guarantee you, they're going to continue to push this word, the recession, at least for the end of this quarter. At least for the end of this quarter. It's going to take time for this market to come back. Everything is okay. Stick with the essentials that you need. I'm not worried about temporary market fluctuation. It's to be expected. Trump's degree is in economics. Amen to that, LJ. Amen to that. I have a 401k with my job. They and what they take out of my check and company matches. Keep riding it. Keep riding it. Just keep riding it. The market's going to come back up, guarantee you, and it's going to be way more prosperous than we could ever imagine. I have faith in that. I'm very optimistic about the market in general. I'm very optimistic about the real estate market in general as well, because big box folks are putting money into the United States, and that's what you have to follow. You got to follow the big money. Anytime I'm looking at a new market to invest in a particular real estate asset or anything like that, I look at where U-Hauls are being established, U-Hauls, storage units, and Walmarts, because those are areas, you know, you can say what you want. I don't know what happened. Walmart is not going to put a Walmart store somewhere where they're not going to generate revenue. This is Bidenomics leftovers. Yep. Liberals, the sky is falling. The sky is falling. They're wrong about it. Yep. They were wrong about the tariffs last time too. There's a reason why Biden kept those tariffs in place when he got elected, because they worked. We had a recession under Biden. They redefined recession. They did. I remember that. They redefined what the recession was. Well, we're not really in a recession yet. We were. Worst economy. Last 4 years, crap show. After the pandemic, crap show. Ford rolls out. Let me get this up. Ford rolls out employee pricing to every American. This is huge. Ford rolls out employee pricing to all Americans effective immediately, just hours after Trump's tariffs hit. Same deals the workers get. Ford Motors is standing up for American consumers in the face of global economic pressure and decades of disastrous trade policies that hollowed out American industry. Effective immediately, every American who walks into a Ford dealership will be treated like one of our own Ford employees. Raptors, Mustang, Broncos, Expeditions, Super Duty trucks.
Such horrendous imbalances have devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this calamity. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 25% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
All right, unless they want to build them here. President Trump's 25% tariffs on auto imports are now in effect. And to keep prices low for their customers, Ford just announced they will offer employee pricing to all customers, which could mean a $4,000 savings. Here to discuss this move is Ford's Chief Policy Officer, Steve Crowley. Steve, can you expand on this? So now we're going to be treated like an employee when it comes to pricing in any dealership across the country?
Hey, thanks for having me. You bet. That's exactly right. For the next couple of months, we're going to offer our customers the same deal that our employees get. And as you say, that's worth thousands of dollars. You come into our store, you get employee pricing. This is kind of to call a little bit of a timeout. We've heard some uncertainty from our customers, and we want them to be assured that Ford, the most American auto company, is going to do right by them, as are our dealers. We make the most cars here. We employ the most. We export the most. And so we here at Ford, we're in a good position to address customers' concern and give them a really great deal on a great vehicle.
So that's great. People are worried. A lot of people are scrambling to get a car before the tariffs kicked in, even used. So this is new. So that's interesting. So one thing I've found out is that even though you're the most American-made car, we don't make everything that goes into that car. I mean, for example, leather seats. The best leather. We don't really do much for leather seats in mass production here in this country. You got to go elsewhere. Have you been able to explain that to the White House? You could have the best intentions, but you just don't have the material and the manufacturing here yet, and you don't want to be penalized.
Absolutely, and the White House gets that, and that's why yesterday the new tariffs on companies generally don't apply to automobile manufacturers in particular. We have our own set of tariffs, of course, that was announced about a week ago. And you're absolutely right. There's a global system for supplying car parts, and as a major manufacturer, we're part of that. But again, for us, we like the position we're in because we do make most of our vehicles here by far. Most that we sell here, we make here, and we also love to buy from suppliers here in the United States, and we do that whenever we can. And most of the parts that go in our vehicles are made here in the United States. But sure, it's a global market, of course, and there are some that come from elsewhere. And yes, the administration has understood that very well.
So, Steve, what country, just boxing for?
This is great. So Ford is offering employee pricing over the next couple months, which is great. I'm going to jump into the comments here. I actually had a Ford. I had two Fords. One was an Explorer. It was a 2000, I think it was. Yeah, it was a 2000 Explorer XLT. Fantastic car. The Explorer ran like a tank. Absolute beast. I loved it. And then in 2006, I bought a Mustang. Mustang was a good car. I just did too much to it. I put a chip in it and I souped it up, put a kit on it, all this other stuff. I think it was 2004. Whenever that new body style came out, 2006. I just did too much to it. And then I was getting way too many tickets. And I couldn't take it up to the mountains because it would always peel out on like the littlest things. Liberals, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. Trump had an excellent economy the first 3 years until Democrats, the pandemic virus hit, messed up everything. GMC, LJ writes, GMC is building car manufacturing plants in Indiana. Yep. Hyundai, we saw that a few days ago. Hyundai is committed to building in the U.S. as well. LJ, I own two Fords. A 1987 sedan was a lemon, but the 2003 F-150 rocked. I like the F-150s too. Was that a Ford or was that an Escort? Actually, you know what? I had three Fords. I had oh man, what was that? What was it? The Escort, the 2-door sedan? It was a lemon. It was a lemon. Let me man, I can't remember because I only had it for a couple months because they did me dirty there. They rewound the miles on the odometer. It was like a 1992. I think it was this. What was the hatchback? Yeah, it was a 1992 Ford Escort. Absolute lemon. Absolute garbage. Stick shift, lime green. Yeah, the dealership rewound the miles. I found that out after I bought the car. And I said, "Hey, you guys, you guys rewound the miles on this car." They ended up taking it back and giving the money back. All you had to say was 87 sedan and lemon Escort was the first thought. My Escort had 4 doors. I bought it new and sold it 4 years later with 60,000 miles. What's going on, Rob? Ford acts like their first car manufacturing offer employee pricings. That stuff has been going on for years. Yeah. But, they got to make a big deal out of it. They got to make a big deal. They got to make a big hoorah out of it to say America manufacturing or to buy a Ford, right? Because they're gonna lose some money. They already jack up the prices on them, sticker prices on them cars. The Mustang was the only car that I had purchased new ever. I bought that thing with 6 miles on it, and that was my first lesson of depreciating assets. As soon as I drove off the lot, that thing wasn't worth a dang thing. I have my first Ford now, inherited. Awesome. What kind of Ford is it? Stacy, I had a 92 Dodge Shadow in high school. You're thinking the Escort. Yep. Escape. Ford Escape. I like those. Those are cool. They're like smaller versions of the Explorer. Cool cars. All right. First Ford I drove was an Escape. I bought a 2020 Nissan Rogue Sport that summer and still only has, 19,000 miles. That's amazing. That is amazing. All right, we are jumping into this story coming out of Chicago. This is next level squatting here. Absolute next level squatting. These folks moved in to somebody's house, vacant house. This is probably going to happen here throughout the rest of the year because we're going to see some more vacancies and potential foreclosures and stuff like that in the housing market. But these folks moved in, wrote up a fake mortgage on somebody's rental property.
Case is being described by the homeowner as next level squatting. She and her husband say the person inside is posing as the new owner with bogus mortgage documents. They are demanding that laws be changed to protect property owners, and one state lawmaker is working to do just that.
Since Thursday, we have been fighting to get these people out of our property.
Standing in the rain, practically begging a stranger to move out of their home. Marcia and Carlton Lee never thought they'd be facing off with an alleged squatter.
Someone is in my house saying that they moved in a month ago. I am livid right now.
Marcia says she came by her property last week to show it to a prospective buyer. To her surprise, she says a family of 3 and their dog had moved in.
I have a realtor standing on the sidewalk waiting to see this property. The buyer is across the street. He gets out, and I had to apologize and let them know, like, I can't show you this home right now.
She and her husband came back with police. They say a woman who identified herself as Stacy claimed that she bought the home back in February and was the new owner.
They said, we've been here for a month. I said, no, you haven't. I just showed this property 2 days ago.
They say the woman showed them this mortgage document. But after looking closely, Marcia says she noticed the property pin was inaccurate. The ABC 7i team did some digging and learned the pin matches a house in Country Club Hills, not this Southside property.
This documentation is not valid. So she's trespassing on my property.
But the couple says police still wouldn't remove them.
Oh, you're both victims. We can't make her get out. They're laughing at me as they're telling me that this is a civil matter.
We saw your story before. We like your coverage. That's why you were the first one that we called, because we want action.
Illinois State Representative LaShawn Ford says he's working hard in Springfield to crack down on squatting.
It's happening, as you know, across the state, and it puts owners and landlords in a bad position.
As rent prices continue to soar, he believes the problem is only going to get worse in Illinois.
Once they get in, the landlord has to go through what you call the Forcible Entry Act in order to evict them. That means that they have to go to court.
Under Ford's proposed law, police would have the power to remove a squatter from the property the moment the rightful owner can prove it's their home, bypassing the months-long eviction process. It's legislation this couple calls common sense.
Like, I really think it's a joke.
Representative Ford met the couple at their property and knocked on the door, hoping to speak with the woman inside.
Nobody's going to answer.
No one would come out to speak with us. The couple says they are at their wits' end, but one thing they won't be doing is paying the people to leave.
The first thing
you might have to.
That they asked my husband when we walked up to the door with the police that first night was, are you going to give us our $8,000 back? I spent $150,000 to rehab this property, to let somebody else come in this property and tear my property up and tell me it's theirs? Yeah, I'm upset.
We did try calling Stacy, the woman inside the home. She did not return my call. And CPD telling us Area 2 detectives are investigating. Meantime,
see, this is why places like Chicago, Nevada's a little bit like that. California, Nevada's a little bit more loose on things like that. There's ways around it, but in Chicago, you got to go through a whole court process to get this through. And here in Nevada, I'm going to speak on Nevada. When squatters come into a home in Nevada, it generally goes into you can, if you file an eviction on somebody, it shows that they have proof of residency. So generally, there's a couple different options. Myself, I just call the police and tell them that these individuals broke into the home. They're living here. They need to get out. And then we agree on a particular time frame for them to get out. They don't have the right lease. And then if they were to show those documents with the PIN or the APN number, which is the assessor parcel number, and it's incorrect, then it's null and void off the jump. They need to get out immediately. But in places like Chicago, if they've already set up utilities and they've already done all these things to show residency, it's very difficult to get them out. I said this on a previous video, or you can give them like cash for keys to get out, or you could just shut off their water. That would be a worst case scenario, right? You just kind of shut off their water. But a family of 3 moved in with their dog. Squatting is out of control. Yeah, squatter rights are unconditional or unconstitutional, Catherine writes. Illegal squatter laws. Yes, squatting is still happening. And I think it's, it'll probably be more prevalent, especially in areas like Chicago. We were talking about Indiana, places where homes are vacant and they've been vacant for some time. Some of these cats are professional squatters. They know where to go. This was because Biden wasn't illegal to take over homes. They planned to draft the American people under Kamala. Yeah, LJ writes civil matter. It's breaking and entering. Yep. And that's how I would generally go at it here in Nevada. Is I would just say, hey, these folks broke into the home, and then a lot of times police won't come unless you feel threatened. And 98% of the time I feel threatened. Because they're in my place. They're in a house that I own. So Tyson, up here in Overton, we don't have Las Vegas type crimes. Same county, two different worlds. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Not living broken in and won't leave. This squatters is a crime, and we need to call Congress. Wow, fetus, really? Squat? You know what? Actually, I bet you had said squatting is far worse in the UK. I bet. I have a cousin in Germany, and he was saying that Germany is just going down the tanker too. It might. I don't know what that's what is attributing to that. Is it because the illegals are coming into the UK? I know that there's a lot of crime going on out there too. Squatters' law vary from state to state. Some people just leave for a week on vacation and come back. Yep. There was a situation with a lady in New York that this happened to. Sanctuary cities and squatter rights, illegal. People do this professionally. It was a nightmare. Yeah, they do. They actually have like a Reddit thread, a Facebook feed where people share different areas where squatters can go and live. Wild. They plan what is happening in the UK. Mm-hmm. I'll check that out. Thanks, Fetus. What's going on, Paula? I would like to tell those squatters where to go. All right. Yeah. It's wild. And another thing that's wild also is stay over tenants. Stay over tenants. If you sell the property and these tenants stay over, I've gotten a couple properties like that where tenants stay over and then they don't pay the rent. That was a wild time during COVID. Absolute wild time. I had the most difficult time getting some tenants out of a property because they kept saying that they had COVID. They kept saying that they were sick and they couldn't get out. And I filed evictions on these folks, and they just kept pushing it out and out and out. And I ended up calling the city of North Las Vegas and telling them that the home was inhabitable, which it was. It was a fiveplex, and it was inhabitable. The conditions of it weren't appropriate for anybody to live. The previous owner just allowed homeless and vagrants to chill around the property, and they basically connected a hose and ran it into the kitchen. Water was seeping under there. So anyways, I ended up calling the city, and I had to go to court. I called the city. I said, hey, this place is inhabitable. And then the judge was like, well, this isn't about a lease situation or anything like that. The home is inhabitable. So I got it officially certified as an inhabitable home, and they had to get out immediately. It was wild, though. Karoline Leavitt promises there's not going to be any pain from Trump's tariffs ahead of the market taking a major hit today. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt promised on Thursday morning that there's not going to be any pain for American workers from President Donald Trump's tariffs ahead of the stock market taking a major hit and temporary layoffs being announced.
Markey, I just want to address that yesterday was a great day for our country. And President Trump delivered on a campaign promise that he made to the 80 million American voters who elected him to this highest office, a promise that many presidents before him for decades refused to deliver upon. This is a national emergency. We have a $1.2 trillion trade deficit. We've had 90,000 factories closed across our heartland. We've had 5 million manufacturing jobs go overseas since 1997. And President Trump is finally doing something about it by implementing these reciprocal tariffs. It's the golden rule for the golden age of America. As for prices and what the American public can expect, they can expect price stability. They can expect to buy American. It's the patriotic thing to do. And most importantly, they can expect their wages to go up. We know that in President Trump's first term, wages went up by $6,500 per person. And that's because of the whole of government economic approach that this administration is taking, effectively implementing tariffs while also.
This won't be painful at all for American people and consumers, Karoline?
It's going to be, there's not going to be any pain for American-owned companies and American workers because their jobs are going to come back home. And again, as for prices, President Trump is working on tax cuts to put more money back into the pockets of Americans. He is working on massive deregulatory effort, which we know has already saved American taxpayers millions of dollars in just 2 months. And we're also working on driving down the cost of energy with a Trump energy boom, just like we saw in his first term. The president effectively implemented tariffs in his first term while driving down the cost of living. This is a proven economic formula that works, and the American people should trust in Trump. That's why they elected him back to the White House. Well, first of all,
Karoline Leavitt is a powerhouse. She could talk to me all day. She could talk to me all day. I could watch her talk all day. Jax, you asked why would I rent out a place with those problems? So I purchased the property from a homeowner with those existing problems. He was trying to get rid of those tenants. I purchased that particular 5-plex from the homeowner with those existing problems. And after I purchased it, I generally go over there, I talk to the tenants, and then I saw the conditions of the property. All of the units were like bed bug infested, roach infested, all this other stuff. So I purchased it in that condition from the existing homeowner. The previous homeowner allowed those tenants to live in those conditions. And I was able to kick one tenant out at the time, and then the 4 others just kind of lingered. So it was a problem that I inherited when I purchased property. I'm not that type of landlord. I don't like slumlord situations. I think, an individual, anything that I rent out has to be up to living standards for anybody. Heat, air, all that other stuff. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah. Yeah. Bed bugs sounds like some hotels on the strip. Yeah. It was gross. It was gross. I had to, when I went there, it was nasty. It was nasty. I had to get undressed outside of the house. So I was basically, I basically got naked out in front of the house. And then, because I didn't want to bring anything in, and I called my my bug guy, and he was like, "Yeah, put them in heat, put it in heat." And at the time, it was super hot. Left them outside, washed them, it was gross. It was nasty. Jack says, I see it. Was it a rehab? I bought a rehab, but I didn't have tenants at the time. Yeah, it was a full rehab. So thanks, Terry. Thanks. Yeah, it was a full rehab. Eventually I ended up getting those folks out, and we did a full thing. New floor, new subfloor, basically tore it all the way down. We had to. I didn't want to, but we had to make it livable. Yeah, it was gross. So Karoline Leavitt promises that there's not going to be any pain from Trump's tariffs ahead of the market taking a major hit, which is good. LJ, yeah, it costs a ton of money. They can live in sockets without feeding for a long. Oh, that's gross. It's nasty. Bed bugs are gross. That's nasty. And then, oh man, you guys are bringing me back to visuals that I don't want to recall. I remember going in there. The roaches were comfortable. There was a lot of them. They were comfortable. They were like roommates to these folks. I've seen some nasty stuff. It's gross. You know, it doesn't take a lot to have a clean space. You know, you can live wherever you want to live, but it doesn't take a lot to keep it clean. You know, you get some cleaning supplies, you clean every day, make sure you pick up your food and all this other stuff. Oh man, I feel like stuff's crawling on me right now. Tyson, I'm in pest control industry now after property management because I learned so much. That's awesome. I love that. People can be so nasty. I've never seen. Yeah, they're gross. Yeah. All right. Anyways, I'm going to move on. This American company, this shop, it's called Made in America, is getting strong, and this business only provides American-made products in their shop, which is awesome.
Reporter Michael Schwartz went to the Made in America store in Alma on their 15th anniversary in business.
It's a special day at the Made in America store in Elma.
I opened April 3rd, 2010 on a Saturday. It was almost 90 degrees. A little different weather, but beautiful day. Local beers.
A different climate 15 years ago for Mark Andel, owner of the Made in America store.
Back then, I had lost a major account to China with my general welding and fabricating.
As a business owner, the international logistic issues led him to open this store where he now sells 15,000 different products, 100% made in America. Yet none of them require batteries.
Not one item, 15 years of searching. Not one item.
Did you guys hear that? Not one of the items have batteries.
Require batteries.
Not one item, 15 years of searching. Not one item that takes a battery or plugs in. You know, with the different tariffs going on, it's going to make people focus on our country.
The new reciprocal tariffs just rolled out by President Trump highlight tariffs on imports from 90 nations.
But I don't worry about shipping containers. I don't worry about tariffs. Buy Made in America. I tell people you don't like tariffs, buy Made in America.
Do you think that with the tariffs now, this could help push more to be made and sold in America?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, how can you not do that? I mean, a lot of these other countries are screaming bloody murder that, you know, it's going to affect them. Well, it should affect them.
Keeps American people working.
Always been a supporter of our country and what we can do to help our own. So I like coming to Made in America, and the products are wonderful. It's nice to buy American.
This is going to make the consumer get a little more educated, see what's made in America. If it's not, I think somebody is going to be sharp enough. We've got some sharp people that can use new technologies to make products, and this is going to force that to happen, I truly believe.
Michael Schwartz, 7 News Elma.
That's super cool. Rob says that he actually shops at this store. That's cool. I saw those bread butter pickles. I'm a sucker for those. I like some bread, butter, pickles. Fetus writes, I'm lucky where I live. I can buy local. Everything I need. That's awesome. Love that. All right, we are jumping into this next story here. Get this. Maryland bill to address slavery retributions awaits governor decision. When I read this before, when I was piecing this together, I was like, what in the world is going on here? What in the world is going on here? Many American lawmakers want to correct historical wrongs. As history shows, slaves played a crucial role in building the state's economy and society. I'm going to give my opinions after this video here.
Was ratified into the U.S. Constitution in 1865 through the 13th Amendment. Now the governor of Maryland will consider a new bill to address the lasting impacts a long period of history has on the community. Through Senate Bill 587, the state of Maryland will create a reparations commission. On Wednesday, the bill passed with a majority vote of 101 in favor and 36 against. Many Maryland lawmakers aim to correct the historical wrongs. As history shows, slaves played a crucial role in building the state's economy and society. However, Maryland also served as a model for other states on the systematic practice of enslaving people, later adopted and called the slave codes.
I can't understand why we would stand to talk about people who lived between 1877 and 1965 and not think about the group of people that came this year to see us in committee to tell us their horrific stories about how they were enslaved and raped at the hands of employees at the state of Maryland.
The bill proposes several ways to make amends, including official apologies, financial compensation, and rebates on property taxes.
Official apologies, rebates, and reductions on property tax. This is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. They're focusing predominantly on the Black community here. I'm not Black, obviously. But if you look back at everybody, you know, my family heritage is Filipino. They were slaves. Everybody was slaves at one point. If this passes, this opens up Pandora's box for all the other people that were slaves at one point, right? Slaves weren't just Black people. Hispanic people, Asian people, white people were slaves. Does this mean that everybody gets retributions or reparations, excuse me? Does this mean that everybody gets this? This is ridiculous to me. If this gets passed, it is going to open up Pandora's box for other cultures to say, hey, we want money too. We were slaves. This is wild to me. Absolutely wild and ridiculous to me. I remember Kamala Harris was thinking about pushing this into play here. That's exactly what we need, right? I don't know if down the line my family was slave owners, or were they, you know, slaves. I don't know any of that. And to be real with you guys, there are current slaves now in the existing society. Current slaves now. We're talking about ex-slaves, people being slaves to corporations, people being slaves to government taxes. This all opens up to that. I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Drop it down in the chat down below, and drop it down in the comment section if you're catching this on the replay. But this really just opened this. If this gets passed, it will open up Pandora's box. Trust me. It is ridiculous. It's dumb. And then what it does also, at least in my personal opinion, it continues the divide of culture. It continues this rhetoric that we've been attempting to get away from, which is racial and color segregation. This just perpetuates more segregation. This happened a long time ago. A long time ago. Cool. Wash it. All good. Keep it pushing. Live in the now. I'm going to jump into some of these comments. Yeah, who fought the Civil War? Whites? You're welcome. Look at surnames pushing anti-American BS. Exactly. This is BS. Yes. Seriously, slavery, reparations. No slave of past technology. Therefore, nobody is experiencing the slavery they've experienced. It's wild. Russ, you're right. White slaves cost more. Everybody was slaves. I'm Irish. Susan writes, I'm Irish. Can we get ours too? Exactly. You know, if this gets passed, who's to say, oh, I'm Irish, I'm Latino, I'm Hispanic, I'm Filipino, I'm whatever. You know, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We're human, right? We're all human. And this just perpetuates this continuous segregation. And this just, to me, if this gets passed, this is like a demerit on blacks, because it's just going to encourage this continuous segregation. CA tried this. They formed a committee and studied it for 2 years. In the end, they realized they couldn't do it. Biden era sucked. Welfare states, slaves. Exactly. Democrat Party will always be a party of slavery. What's going on, Michael? At least 50% of whites didn't support slavery. Otherwise, it would have continued. They still practice slavery all around the world today. In the Middle East, they call it, how do you say that? Kafafla? I think that's how you say it. Slavery in the United States officially ended with the ratification of the 13th Amendment of the Constitution on December 6, 1865, 160 years ago. Kafala. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. I'm a red. Yeah. Yeah, if this gets passed, shame on Maryland. Shame on Maryland. It boils down to sorry, good for nothing people thinking the world owes them something. Yep. So people that are half white, half black, they're going to pay themselves. Nobody's living today that had slaves. Exactly. Exactly. This isn't going to be a good look for Maryland if this goes through. Just saying. Would putting them on reservations make them happy? They can open up a casino. Exactly. Indians, they got their land taken, you know? This all happened a long time ago. To me, live in the now. Take it for what it was. It helped build culture. It helped build, America. It helped build everything. UK. There were slaves in Peru. People invaded places. Anyways, Amish never owned slaves. They farm for themselves. I researched them extensively. Terry writes, I'm glad I left. Yeah. And think about it. Think about it, guys. There's current slaves now. Like slaves to the system, ex-slaves. There are, what about the ex-slaves? With an S in the front of the X. They're gonna get paid? Anyways. All right. A fencer took a knee against a trans opponent. This happened a couple days ago. I saw this on TikTok, and then this story came up on Fox. Female fencer takes a knee against a trans opponent.
Stands up for fairness in women's sports. She did it by taking a knee and refusing to compete against a biological male at a tournament over the weekend. The referee's response, a black card, the sport's most severe penalty, which means expulsion from the tournament. Let's bring in the athlete at the center of it all, Stephanie Turner. Stephanie.
Right, Denzel. Exactly.
Thanks so much for being with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So this was an Olympic qualifying event. My understanding of it is. This was something that you had prepared all your life for. It wasn't an Olympic qualifying event? I'm sorry. I had heard that this morning.
No, it wasn't.
It was an important event, though. And this is something that you've been preparing for an awfully long time. You decided that you were going to take yourself out of the tournament. What was the thinking in leading up to the decision where you took a knee?
Right. So this was actually a regional tournament held by the USFA at the University of Maryland. So part of my pre-competition ritual is to check the online registration to see who is going to be there and just double check my check-in times. And on the registration list, I saw Redmond Sullivan's name listed there. And I recognized this individual from a previous Redux article that had been written stating that this person was a man who had previously competed on the men's team at Wagner and was now competing as a woman within the USFA.
I think it was like in a 5-year span. He was previously participating as a man, as a fencer 5 years ago, and then now he's on the women's team.
So from that point, I just got really disappointed with the USFA and with this tournament, and I just felt like at a loss. I'd already committed so much money to it and training hours, and I was literally looking forward to this. I do this tournament every year.
Yeah.
I think this may be like my 10th year in a row doing this tournament. And I just got really sad and I started crying because this was like the last thing I wanted to deal with in my competition.
So at one point in the video, so we see you take a knee and then the official comes over. What did you say to the official at that point?
So the official came over to me and asked if I was still refusing to fence. And I said, yes. Oh, and are you talking about initially?
Yes.
Or when I got the black card?
No, initially.
Initially, I told them that I was refusing to fence because this person is a man and I am a woman and this is a women's tournament and I refuse to fence on principle.
And then later, right after this,
Yeah, that's a big dude. Russ. That's a big dude.
See, your opponent comes over. What did you say to your opponent at that point?
Or yeah, you guys know.
My opponent was a little bit confused, thinking that I was maybe hurt. And I said, no, I am refusing to fence you because I'm a woman and you are a man. I have much love and respect for you, but I will not compete against you.
Wow.
And he responded, okay, well, there's a, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm sorry, what was his response?
His response was, okay, but there's a member of the board of directors here and he supports me. And there's a policy that says that I'm a woman and I'm allowed to compete in the women's tournament. And if you do this, you're going to get black carded. And I said, I know.
See, this person couldn't make it per se. on, I don't know the situation. I don't know the situation, like the backstory of this situation. But this person right here, it was like 5 years ago competing on the men's side. This happened with a swimmer also. And then recently, like a marathon runner did the same situation and beat the woman's record in like 5 hours, for like 5 hours ahead of any previous record. This to me, good for this person for bowing out of this. What's going on, Kayla? Good for this person to bowing out of this, because yes, this is fencing, but she's standing up for this. This shouldn't. This is not. This is no bueno. Okay, imagine if LeBron James couldn't make it in the NBA. And he was like, I'm going to play for the WNBA. He'd be dunking on people. Nobody would want to play against him. All the former NBA athletes can come out and just play women's sports. This is, to me, it's unfair for women who've been participating and practicing and focusing on their sport for a long time and taking pride in their sport. And then this happens. 5 years ago, the conversion happens. Just my personal opinion. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Russ, good for her. Good for her. I'm not sure if the executive order regarding this applies to this particular situation. I know it applies for college campuses. I think this was a recreational tournament. If you kick them where the jewels are supposed to be, you get disqualified. Rob writes, I notice all the guys that suck at sports play against women to make themselves feel better. Yeah. 5 years? This is wild to me. I wouldn't participate in that. This person's a lot bigger than this woman on her knee. Imagine, I just keep getting that image of like LeBron James going to the WNBA. Wild. Oh man, Terry, I'll be sending some prayers. Terry. Democrats have knocked women's rights back more than 50 years. I suck at sports. I don't go beating up on women. Yeah. Kayla is Terry's wife. I'll be sending some prayers to you guys tonight. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about this. This is wild. All the folks that suck at male sports, they just go into women's sports. I remember when this whole thing kind of came out, and there was a cyclist, a mountain bike cyclist, that was training for years and years and years. And then she lost to somebody who transitioned like a couple years ago. It's wild when Caitlyn Jenner says something about this too, because Caitlyn Jenner is opposed to this also. And Caitlyn Jenner is an Olympic gold medalist. formerly known as Bruce Jenner. All right, let's jump into San Francisco. San Francisco still a crap town. I was going to go somewhere with that, but I didn't because I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be good. I am being good. Downtown San Francisco, this mall, I was just at this mall about 3 years ago with my dad. Downtown San Francisco is becoming an absolute crap show. This mall is completely empty. Couple things with this situation here. Malls are going out of style because of online consumer purchases. You know, nobody really, like, aside from like going to the mall and actually like walking around, maybe getting an Auntie Annie's pretzel, or you know, just mingling around and window shopping. That's generally what I like to do at malls. I don't generally go to a mall to buy things. I buy stuff online, or in person, like at direct stores, local stores, or in and out of places, Bass Pro Shop, stuff like that. But I don't go to malls here. And malls are going out of business. There's more and more malls that have been abandoned. Massive buildings, massive, beautiful buildings that are abandoned. Used to have movie theaters in them, all this other stuff. But this mall, particularly in San Francisco, there's only a few stores left.
San Francisco Center in the city's financial district might just be one of the most depressing things you can do. That's if you're like me and you remember this mall when it was packed with stores just 10 years ago.
Yes, absolutely, LJ. We're going to jump back into this video, but yes, it is predominantly due to the crime here too. People are just ransacking, going into Apple stores, grabbing, you know, because they can take up to $1,000 worth of stuff and get away with it.
On this day, that is no longer the case.
Was there ever a time that you would shop there?
All the time. Yeah, all the time. Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you still shop there? I mean, I know there are a couple stores that are still there.
I don't anymore. The stores that are still open aren't ones that I'm interested in.
More than half of all the stores at the San Francisco Center are gone. In fact, several additional stores have closed in the last few days.
I feel sad that some of the stores are closing. Yeah. We have nowhere to go, you know.
Now, all eyes on this Bloomingdale's, the company's second biggest location in the nation, that will be closing soon. The sign says they're already in their last 10 days. Hence, the 70% off and the many people we saw busy shopping away and looking for a deal.
I got some clothes for my kids. It's like a $13 dress. I mean, that part of it's awesome, but obviously I don't like to see stores closing. I know a lot of people are doing online shopping, including me. I do a lot of online shopping. However, I still enjoy walking around a mall. There's like a nostalgia that it brings. Yeah. And I still like going through the clothes. So I think it's just overall it feels sad.
What can I say about it? It's depressing. It's depressing. It's sad.
Yeah.
The move. The move.
I mean, I feel bad actually even looking at the sale because there are people who are out of jobs now.
As to what is next for the San Francisco Center, I asked the mayor Wednesday night at a nearby event.
Listen to what
do
the
you
mayor
think should happen to that property?
Well, what needs to happen everywhere is that we need to have safe and clean streets. We need to invite businesses back.
Is there incentives to get them back into that building because it's still in great shape?
We're working with the owners of that building, but really just broadly speaking, we have to invite business back.
Something that
the way that you invite business back, San Francisco, is you get rid of the human feces on the sidewalk. You get rid of the homelessness. You get rid of the crime in San Francisco. You maybe get some new leadership in California. That's the way that businesses are going to come back. Otherwise, California is going down the tanker. We talked about this a couple videos ago. California is LA specifically is working at a deficit in regards to their budget. It is burning to the ground. Okay. People don't want to be there. People are shoplifting like crazy, breaking into cars. Why would you want to live in California? Why would you want to bring a business to California? Wild. That's how you bring business back. Clean up the streets, get rid of the theft, get rid of the Get rid of the people. Homeless city all over the place. This mall is going to be abandoned in the next year. And squatters are going to raid it too. People are going to be living there. This is going to look like zombie land. And they don't have the budget to maintain security on it. You need new leadership in California. That's just what it is. This mall is a beautiful mall. It's a beautiful building. I remember standing on that like second row. I think this one's a three decker, but I remember standing on the second floor with my dad and just, people watching. But I haven't been to a mall in a long time either. I don't shop at a mall. I shop online. But if I'm going to a mall, I'm getting some Auntie Annie's, though, or some Wetzel's pretzels. In San Francisco, they're closing due to crime. Yep. Our malls left like 20 some years ago. That's what Fetus writes. Most of the malls in CT are on their way out, already gone. Sears is gone. Sears was a big retailer at malls before. Sears was a big box thing. Going to the mall used to be a thing in high school. I loved shopping. I loved big mall days. Now all my shopping is online. Even shop Dillard's, Macy's, etc. online. Exactly. Russ writes, well, that's because they legalized theft. If they let people steal without consequence, they don't have to pay for it. And Terry writes, I walked into Bloomingdale's, saw the price on one item and walked out. I don't think I've ever bought anything from Bloomingdale's. That's just my thing. Oakland is just as bad. Yeah, Oakland is bad. Rob writes, when I was in my younger days, I was a mall cop and rode around on a Segway. Oh, the arcades at the mall. Sears left and took Kmart with them. Yeah, it's Kmart. Kmart was huge. Kmart was huge. There was a lot of Kmart stores actually here in Las Vegas, and a lot of those Kmart buildings are still vacant. I just actually close to my mom's house, there was a Kmart, a well-established Kmart on busy intersections. It was booming for a long time, but when Sears went under, they took Kmart with them. And then this building has been vacant. No joke, probably for 8 years. I just looked at the permits on this particular building. They're finally putting in a grocery store in this building. But a lot of those Kmart buildings, they're still holding on to the notes, to the mortgages on those things. I used to buy all my tools and appliances at Sears. Yeah, Sears. I used to work at Sears. Sears was one of my college gigs. I worked there part-time. I worked in the lawn section. It was lawn and fitness equipment. Sears had everything. Did you guys know Sears used to sell houses back in the 1960s? I think 1940s too. 1940s, 1960s. Sears used to sell houses. Russ writes, once upon a time when arcades were cool and didn't cost $100 to have fun, right? Right? It was a couple quarters. It was like 25 cents to play a game. Now it's like $6 to play a game. Dude, I'd rather just buy the game and play it at home. Sears used to sell everything and anything at one time. Yep. Cool. Let me jump in here, Bob. Let me make sure I got all the comments. What else we got? Oh, before we jump on out of here, I don't know if this is going to get hit with copyright or whatever. But when I saw this before I jumped on the live, This is the first trailer for the Naked Gun reboot. Have you guys seen it? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the chat if you seen it. I don't know if this is going to get taken down, so we're going to watch this. It won't get taken down now, but it might get taken down once the video is uploaded. I was a fan of the Naked Gun before. Awesome films. But they're doing a reboot. Let me know if you've seen this. Yep, LJ, Sears sold mail order modern homes from 1908 to 1940. And the final catalog issued in 1940. There's actually some Sears homes here in Las Vegas. Wow. So I was excited when I saw this trailer. But Naked Gun's coming back. Here we go.
Multiple SWAT units responding to hostage situation.
Hey, little girl, stop. What do you want, little one? Your ass.
That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast. That's the sound of the police. That's the sound of the beast.
Who are you?
Frank Drebin, Police Squad. The new version.
That's the sound of the police.
Hi, Daddy. It's me, Frank Jr. Love you.
Hey, Dad.
Boy, do I miss you.
Sound of the police.
Frank Drebin makes me want to go watch Naked Gun tonight. Yeah, LJ writes, I'll pass. Way too woke for me. You know what? I will probably still watch it. Hopefully it's not super woke, but I will probably still watch it because I was a fan of the Naked Gun series before. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as the original. It's crazy to me that they can't come up with new concepts in Hollywood anyways. I was having a conversation with somebody earlier this week about, Hollywood not being able to come out with new concepts or original scripts like Top Gun, the new Top Gun with Tom Cruise. It was an original script. They've gotten so far on like remakes and redos. We saw the flops with Snow White, or was it Snow White? And all these other remakes with Lion King and all. Just write an original story. That's what I like. I like original stories. I like that the new Top Gun with Tom Cruise. It was great. Original story, no real like identifier of particular bad guys. They were just on a mission. No woke bull crap in the story. It was good. LJ, Snow Brown. It sucked. And why did they get the girl to not be equally like Gal Gadot? How is Gal Gadot jealous of that girl? Anyways, guys, I thought I'd just share that. Anyways, all right, I'm going to jump on out of here. I want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat. Want to give a huge shout out to the moderators in the chat, because without the moderators, sometimes the spammers be spamming. But shout out to the moderators in the chat. And shout out to everybody catching this on the live. I love doing these. We have a lot of fun. The chat is awesome. Because without you guys, the chat rocks. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. I'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. PST for the standard time. And then I'm doing a morning show at 10 a.m. PST. Other than that, guys, I am out of here. I'm going to play with the pup. You guys rock. I truly appreciate each and every single one of you guys. If you're catching this on the replay, type in replay in the comment section down below. Smash the like button on your way out if you kindly would. Does help with the YouTube algorithms. Share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.